He had ridden away once, believing distance would quiet his heart. But some feelings don't fade with miles. They grow louder in the silence, calling you back to the place where kindness first changed you. On a dusty road beneath a wide Texas sky, a cowboy learned that the bravest confession isn't spoken in a shout. Sometimes it's whispered with trembling honesty, "I can't stay away from you." Before the story begins, take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel Soul Tales. Your kindness helps these stories travel farther, touching hearts that need them today. The town of Red Willow was small enough that everyone noticed everything, and quiet enough that kindness echoed longer than cruelty. The sun rose slow over the plains, painting the land gold, and set just as gently behind rows of mesquite. People there lived by habits, by routines passed down like heirlooms. Change didn't come easy, and love across lines not everyone understood came even harder. Caleb Hart was known as a good cowboy, not loud, not flashy, just steady. He fixed fences without being asked. He helped neighbors load hay when storms threatened. Folks trusted him because he kept his word. But there was a restlessness in him, a way his eyes searched the horizon as if something important had slipped away. That something was named Naomi Brooks. Naomi had moved to Red Willow 3 years earlier to run her late aunt's little café near the railroad tracks. The place smelled like fresh bread and strong coffee, and it stayed open longer than any other shop. Naomi believed a warm meal could soften the hardest day. She smiled easily, listened deeply, and treated every person like they mattered. It wasn't something she tried to do. It was simply who she was. At first, Caleb only came in for coffee. He sat at the counter, hat low, boots dusty. Naomi learned his order without asking. She refilled his cup before it emptied. She asked about his horse by name. Those small kindnesses felt bigger than they should have. They felt like shelter. But Red Willow watched. Whispers floated through the café like smoke. Some smiles tightened when Naomi entered a room. Others looked away too quickly. Caleb noticed it all, and it weighed on him. He told himself it didn't matter. Then he told himself it mattered too much. One evening, after the café closed, they stood outside under string lights humming softly. The air was warm, and the night felt close. Caleb wanted to say something honest. Instead, he said goodbye too quickly. He rode out the next morning before the sun was fully up. He told himself leaving was the kind thing to do. Caleb worked ranches farther west, taking jobs that kept him moving. He learned new trails and slept under new stars. But everywhere he went, kindness followed him like a shadow, reminding him of Naomi. When a stranger offered him water on a long day, he thought of the way she never let a cup run dry. When a child waved at him from a fence, he remembered Naomi's laugh, warm and unguarded. Months passed, then a year. Back in Red Willow, Naomi kept the café alive with patience and grace. Some days were lonely. Some nights she locked up and wondered why caring so much felt like a risk. She never spoke badly of Caleb. She never asked the town to understand her. She just kept serving food and hope in equal measure. One winter afternoon, a storm rolled in fast. The wind howled, rattling windows. The power went out. Naomi lit candles and kept the doors open. She fed whoever came in free of charge. She listened to fears and calmed, shaking hands. By the time the storm passed, something had shifted. People remembered who stayed when it was hard. Kindness has a way of teaching lessons without raising its voice. Caleb heard about that storm from a ranch hand months later. The story followed him like a sign pointing home. He tried to ignore it. Then he tried to outwork it. Finally, he admitted the truth. He didn't leave to protect Naomi. He left because he was afraid of what loving her would cost. Spring brought him back. He rode into Red Willow on a quiet morning, heart pounding harder than any horse's hooves. The café door chimed when he stepped inside. Naomi looked up. Time paused. Nothing dramatic happened. No music swelled. Just two people breathing in the same room again. "You came back," she said, her voice steady. "I couldn't stay away," he replied, and the truth sat between them like a promise. They talked for hours after closing. Caleb confessed his fear, his regret, his longing. Naomi listened the way she always had, with patience and open hands. She didn't scold him. She didn't rush him. She told him how kindness wasn't weakness, how it asked courage of everyone involved. "I don't need saving," she said softly. "I need honesty." Caleb nodded, humbled. He offered what he should have offered before. Not protection, partnership. Change didn't come overnight. Some in Red Willow stayed distant. Others warmed slowly. But kindness kept showing up. Caleb stood beside Naomi when comments stung. Naomi stood beside Caleb when doubt crept in. They volunteered together, fixed fences together, fed people together. They let their actions speak when words failed. Over time, the town noticed something else. Life felt better when kindness led the way. The café became a gathering place again. Laughter returned, old grudges softened. Children grew up watching love that was patient and brave. One evening, under the same string lights, Caleb took Naomi's hands. He didn't make a grand speech. He just said, "Thank you for teaching me how to stay." Naomi smiled, eyes bright. "Thank you for coming back." Years later, people told their story like a quiet legend, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. It showed how kindness could bridge fear, how honesty could heal distance, how love could grow when given room to breathe. And if you listen closely in Red Willow, you can still hear it, in the clink of coffee cups, in the creak of saddle leather, in the simple truth that kindness, once shared, has a way of calling us home. As the sun sets on this story, remember this. Kindness doesn't demand perfection. It asks for courage, for patience, for the willingness to return when you've wandered too far. Carry that kindness with you and let it guide your steps. Spread it freely and watch how it changes lives, including your own.